Then I get up late. Then I went to the bathroom, quick shower. Then I was having bad hair day. So I was totally, kind of not really a plant. But like experiential education, we don't know why it took so long for us to discuss. And experiential learning is very close to my heart. And we started talking about experiential education in a very remote corner of Arunachal Pradesh, place called Lumla Tawang district. But today it's amazing to come here and the entire country is talking. Great educators like you are talking about the importance of experiential learning. This gives me so much hope. And I see it's a little too late, but it's a good start. It's a good start. So I am supposed to talk on the 3 essentials of 21st century, which is educating heart, mind, and body. And more importantly, how we can teach love, how we can teach kindness, and how we can teach compassion through doing. The world has created so many haters, but we are not been really as successful creating a lot of lovers. Can we produce more lovers, less haters? So in order to do that, so we need to also teach and learn how to teach love by doing. So this is I want to focus today. That before that, many people believe, and people still believing, that when we talk about something, a new concept, experiential education, really fancy, we immediately believe or think, oh, this must be started somewhere in the West. But that is also another delusion. The real concept of experiential education was started in India in universities like Nalanda and Dakshila. The Nalanda's transformational pedagogy practices, they talk about 3 different kinds of wisdom. Shiridmani Pragya, Chintamani Pragya, and Bhavnamani Pragya. The Chintamani Pragya is a practice of reflection. The education is never complete. Your teaching is incomplete if you don't include these 3 approaches. Wisdom, first wisdom, through listening and seeing, observing, and reading. That is the first wisdom. Shiridmani Pragya. Sorry for my pronunciation. I did a little homework this morning with the Vasu, but I'm still struggling. in a Tibetan we call Trijungi Shira. So Tibetans were smart enough to translate all the great learnings and scriptures from Sanskrit to the Tibetan. Recently, the Bihar government and Tibetan Institute of Higher Studies, they signed an MOU, and now the India is saying and translating all the great scriptures from the Nalanda and Dakshila from Tibetan to Sanskrit. We have lost so many things that we have in this country. And I want to encourage every educator here. My appeal to you is, yes, we must learn the language. We must learn the foreign language, but we must not ignore our own language. And we must not underestimate the wisdom that we have in this country. There's so much to learn. And sometimes you think you have to go away to see the beauty of our own country. That happened to me also. Some beauties we cannot see when we're so close. And all of you look at so beautiful. Wow, my goodness. You look so good from here. But your both eyes are incapable of seeing the beauty of your own face because we are too close. So we forget to appreciate what we have. What we have. And we always look for outside. We always look for outside. We always think wow to other people. We forget to wow ourselves. And this is, I think, important for us. The three approach we talked about. So many people talk about experiential education. I think that John Dewey, they call it the father of experiential education. I think his philosophy was, we do not learn from experience, but we learn from reflecting on experience. So this is actually meant just before she mentioned. Reflecting. We don't learn from the experience, but we learn from reflecting on experience. I think this is a very important point when you talk about experiential education. Now, educating heart, mind, and body. When you live in a very remote village where you have to survive there, we're not in city. The community that we started is in one of the remotest places. And everything that we have to do, otherwise we cannot even survive. You know, we drove 18 hours from Lumla to get here. We don't know what we're getting into. But oh, now I'm feeling, I could just, every day I could come and see the beautiful smiling way they welcome with the coffee, and oh my goodness. I think maybe we should continue another few days. So amazing, smile. You know, it's a long day, but you get up, you just greet with a smile. You know, it touches our heart. It touched our heart, and it is going to be really a great experience when we go back and discuss with so many people. So educating heart, mind, and body. I think academic, especially the Western concept, which is based on so much of the Western thinking is based on only partially, not even complete education of the mind. The partial, a small part of brain to develop that, to educate that is being the main focus of our modern education. And we ignore the educating hearts and educating bodies. Educating hearts and educating bodies. We have a great carpenter in our communities from West Bengal, and he can create so beautiful, like you have here. We have here. And when I look at these kind of arts, these kind of amazing creation, you do feel you have the most uneducated fingers. I don't know how many things you can do with these fingers. Totally uneducated fingers we have. And we define educated very narrowly, very rigid definition of who I am. Maybe people will consider we are the most uneducated. But when you look at a whole person, and then you will see how uneducated I am. I look at dancers, Michael Jackson, I think, oh my God, my head is totally uneducated. When I was a monk, I was in love with Madhuri. Don't tell her though. I love her. I never missed any movie that Madhuri's movie. I love. You remember Sergeant? Dekha hai pehli 18 times. I was caught by monastery, and they came in last morning. In my monastery, we have 3 warnings if you watch romantic movies, especially. We're not supposed to be romantic, I guess. So I got caught 2 times, but I watched more than 100 movies. So last morning I was very serious. Now if they caught me, I will be kicked out from the monastery. So I was very careful about how to do that. You see, everything we think about him. Look at the football players. When you look at them, you feel my feet are totally uneducated. Singers, the children, they look at how well they sing. If I try to sing in my community, I would say, please, Gela, don't do that. Please spare us today. And when you look at the whole person, then you will realize it's a very humbling experience. How this whole person, procedure learning is when we learn to cultivate the kindness. We practice, we put those amazing, the values into practice. When we bring that into the real action, The declarative learning is not enough for us to become a great lover. Don't confuse. Now the young teachers are thinking, oh my goodness, this bold guy is encouraging us to be loved. I don't think there's anything wrong to become a lovers, but I'm talking even more like lover in big sense. You know. So the procedural learning that when we talk about is to cultivating that mind, the cultivating real quality of the mind. And I think that's really important. Now, yesterday I was talking with three people here, got an opportunity to talk about the bullying is a very a huge issue in many schools. And I have so many teachers, very few teachers from my own institute, but amazing teachers from the government, from the remote part of Tawang. These guys, wonderful guys working, they're so remote, and we have maximum that we try to bring this time the governments. I think public schools are great. We need public schools like this, great schools. But we also need to think in how we can actually help and how we can support each other. Basically, not everybody can afford to go to the great schools like this. So, but bullying that I'm talking about is, the concept even does not exist in our community. So how we do that? How we do the simple thing? Very simple thing. Yesterday talking about, I love the simple things. These great speakers yesterday talk simple things. When we bring a new kids to our community, and think about our kids are totally different from a different background. They are orphans. They are coming from definitely first generation learner, but most of them are from really abusive family background. Like me. And how you can teach them to become a loving person, a caring person, and kind person. So one simple thing what we do is the moment when the small kids come to our community and we actually pick the older kids, especially those little strong ones, guys, and we ask and we give them a responsibility. You are now the bigger brother of this tiny 4 years old. Simple things we can do. Even sometimes very troubled, the disturbed mind, when you give the responsibility with the purpose, and that is very powerful to change. So in case you visit our community, you will see every tiny kid is actually, the big guys, they will hold the kindergarten kids, the class 12 children will see they are always taking care. And that's not just holding hands. They have the bathroom, they have to take them for the dinner, the lunch, doing their laundries. And you see now, instead of saying that little child, the weak child, maybe as a wrong term, but as the object of abuse, they see, no, this is the object of love. That is how that we try to do. I'm not saying this is right, but it has been worked very successfully for us. Simple things like that. And another thing is how we can learn a compassion through experiential education. We visited, I don't want to mention the name of the teachers, or maybe they get a little embarrassed. I said, this bold man is talking about us all the time. Okay. We visited to the very remote, I'm talking now more remote than us, near Bhutan, a group of government schools. They started a self-managed hostel. Because in the village, because they come to school, they go and they have to work and they never get a chance to study. So they decided this is a bad thing. So we're going to start hostel, we're going to start residential school without any help from government. They started, they're spending their own money. They started reaching out to people who have a little more money to support that. And one of our experiential education that we took before our kids go to the college, we take to the villages, and what we ask is to see how you can contribute. The great question. If you are right answer-based approach learning, then you care about always giving the right answer. But if you are thinking about experiential educator or experiential learning, then your question has to change. Instead of asking your kid, hey, what do you want to become when you grow up? We just change it. How do you want to contribute when you grow up? Now you see the difference of these two simple questions. Simply changing where you ask it. When you ask what you want to become, and they just have to pick the answer, is the Kaun Banega Crorepati. There's a 4 options. But when you ask a kid, how do you want to contribute to your society, to your country, to the world? And that actually brings them to reflect. It leads them to the reflection. So we take our children to that, and they show the challenges kids are facing in a government school. And they came back, and we had a discussion, and they said, these are the problems that we saw there, and this is our plan to support them and help them to solve, to bring a solution to that. So this is maybe a little project we do. And then finally, we had a lot of discussion. And one of our kids said, hey, we want to do a fundraising to solve their water problem so we can provide them a safe water. Hey, we want to actually buy the books for them so they don't have, and we want to give them a food. Then we discuss about, no, even when we think about the compassion, we always practice convenient compassion. You know, you go for your favorite restaurants, your birthday, you buy food, you are so greedy, you order so much food, and now is it left. And you take that, and then you serve the beggars there, and you give, and you think, I'm really kind. No, actually you're doing favor to yourself, not to the God. If you really, the real compassion has to be a little bit inconvenient, not convenient. We always, it's making convenient for ourselves. Our intention is not to actually care about that person, but we're trying to make, we're trying to make ourselves feel better. I feel a little bit guilty. This is a fancy restaurant. I spent so much money, and now I ordered too much food, and I want to give it to you because it will make me feel good, not that person. That's the inconvenient compassion we practice. So our kids, they come up with the ideas. I said, okay, we're not going to do. I said, can you give something you really like and love? And they come up with the idea, and they said, Yella, we want to give up one meal every week. It's been 5 years. Was it 5 years?
Yes.
5 years, every week. Every children and staff member of Jhamtse Gatsal Children's Community give up one meal, and we take those rations and contribute to people who have not enough food. What you learn so much. How we can teach our children to be more kind and compassionate. We can only teach them by doing. We talk, lead by the examples. But when we talk, oh my goodness, this is really confusing. It's not confusing. We just have to actually think a little more. And everything, that's what I say. Do not separate experiential learning from real life. You go to the toilet, do not leave without flushing. That is also experiential education. When you get inside the toilet, how's it clean? You appreciate. It's our experiential learning is you use that, clean that, flush that. That is also experiential education. So many things that we could do about that. And this is a simple way that we try to teach. And again, I'm sorry if I sound really arrogant, but I get excited. I get excited about this thing. And thank you so much all for your time, your wisdom. Very grateful. It's been an amazing experience. It's amazing food, amazing dance. Amazing party. Everything is amazing. Everything is amazing. And thank you again to ScooNews, Royal Global School, Maria Public School, South Florida School, all the speakers, all the participants. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
That we could hear you all day.
We would now like to invite Ms. Anubha Goyal and Ms. Nelly Ahmed to felicitate Mr. Phuntsok with the traditional Assamese Gomsa. Will you please have you on stage?